Hi, my name is...
What?
My name is...
Who?
My name is...
Oh, nah, nah. What's my name?
So call out my name.
Welcome to Hide and Seek TV. I'm about to actually delve deeper into the whole theme of the names that I've been explaining on this channel for a while now. The names Willie, the names William, the names Billy, the names Lewis, and I'm gonna delve deep into what this stuff really means, and I'm gonna cover some more on it. Because obviously I ain't gonna go in too deep into the purge because a lot of people haven't seen it yet, and I'm gonna let y'all, be the judge of that. But when you understand the film, obviously you have Anna, she plays Adela. She's the main character. Her and her husband Juan. And Juan is obviously his real name is Tanakh, Tanakh. And then you got your boy Will Patton, he's on the film as well. Hence the name's William and hence the name's Anna. Because like when I've been breaking this down for a while now, the name Tanakh, obviously, which is Juan, who was her husband, his name is rock. It means rock. You know what I mean? It means nothing but the pears growing among the rocks. So hence the whole theme of how Israel is as fruit being bared by the rock, in the sense of Messiah being the rock, the headstone, you know what I mean? How it says that he is the rock, he is our foundation. So you see the name Anna, her right here, obviously she was 44 on the movie at the time when the movie released. And I'm going to get into this later on with Kanye and everything too. But when you understand the number 44, all that deals with, like I've been talking about, deals with the Ark of the Covenant. You feel where I'm going? So when you look at this, which is so crazy, is because, like, obviously you can see them both right here. You know what I mean? And it's so deep because when you understand this, all shows everything is coming to fruition. Because when you understand the name Anna, Anna is nothing but like another way of saying Mary. You know what I mean? Remember they used to have the Saint Anne, and it was like basically like the Mary. You know what I'm saying? How deep this stuff connects. So I want to prove my point about this because it's going to be a deep thing. Because when you understand the name Louisiana, I just did a breakdown on this. When you understand the name Louisiana, Anna and Louis I Anna. When you understand how deep this stuff goes, because it's all in our face with these names, and we've been hearing it all of these years throughout our life. When you understand the name Louis, when you translate praise our God, it literally becomes Louis Eternal. You feel what I'm saying? And as you can see, you got the pelican bird, because the pelican just represents nothing, but it's a symbol for Messiah. You know what I mean? And hence how it's protecting the birds, the babies. Because it's written, but if you return to me and obey my commands, then even if you exiled people are at the farthest horizon, I will gather them from there and bring them to the place I have chosen as a dwelling for my name. Hence, that's Nehemiah 1:9. Hint that I would gather them, in the place I have chosen for my name. Hint Louisiana, Louisiana. You see how deep that stuff connects, man. Hint, I've seen this millions of times at beauty supplies and things of that nature. Hint, you got the Annie brand for the mirror. Hint the Anna. So hint the whole thing of Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. You feel what I'm saying? And when you understand the name Carol, all that derives from is Kara, which don't mean nothing but Messiah being the headstone, Messiah being the pure anointed one, the chosen one. That's all it means, is to be pure and to be anointed and chosen to be the ruler, the king of the new kingdom coming. Hint Through the Looking Glass, and then you have Annie, aka Anna. And you see how you connect this through the looking glass, hint the whole theme of preparing to know what was coming in the future of the king to come. Remember Alice in Wonderland with the rabbit hole? Remember that. How deep this stuff goes. And if you watch Resident Evil, you remember Alice is on Resident Evil as well. Remember that. In Raccoon City, in the Umbrella, in the Umbrella Corporation, and the whole theme of all of that comes together because it take place in Kansas or Missouri, if I'm not mistaken, the Resident Evil. And when you understand how deep that goes, that's so real because remember I already said how Kansas is 316. The area code for Kansas City is 316, and hint the whole theme of John 3:16. And then you know how Kansas is in with Wizard of Oz, and then it's in Tornado Alley. And then when you understand that hint, as it's written in Ezekiel 1:4, Messiah is revealed through the whirlwind. But when you understand it too, I think it's in Missouri though. When you understand Missouri, hint, you got the St. Louis Royal Ark out there, the arch, and you know, like it's all in our face. Cause I'm gonna show you right quick to prove my point. Just right quick. Hint the whole theme of the Royal Arch out there in St. Louis. Hint Louis, and then showing the gateway. You remember as it's written, Messiah is as the gate. You know, remember as it's written, it's easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle than a rich man into the kingdom of God. Hint walking through the gateway. You see how deep this stuff goes. You know what I'm saying? And there's just no way around it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show y'all Alice right quick off Resident Evil. Come on, y'all. All in our face. You know what I mean? How deep this stuff goes. You know what I'm saying? And what I want to talk about too is another movie that came out a while back called Anna. You know, but really it was originally, the original film name is Mindscape. Hint the Mindscape. Hint Anna. You see how deep this stuff goes. Hint Shirley Temple. Hint the Temple. I'm gonna get into her a little later on. But hint Shirley Temple. Hint the Temple. She plays Annie. Remember that? I remember Jay-Z sampled her with the Hard Knocks Life. Remember? Hint your boy Logic, you know, the Bobby Tarantino 3. Notice how you see the man coming out of the car being burnt up and the car being destroyed. And you see it says death down there in the book. And then they got maker. You see that? Hint the whole thing where they always want to crash the car because that all represents them trying to prevent Messiah from coming into power. Notice he's burnt up. Remember, like you had Deadpool. I'm going to show y'all this right quick for people who not really familiar with comic books. But hold on, let me show you. Hint Deadpool. Remember he was burnt up. Remember how he had cancer and how he was burnt up and everything. Hint his name is Wade Wilson. Remember during the time of crossing into the promised land, they waded in the water. Remember that and reflected. They wade in the water and they reflect upon the crossing into the promised land. And then Wilson, when you understand the name Wilson, hint that's the son of William. Hint the will of I am that I am, will of God. Remember in Exodus 3:14, he says his name is I am that I am. Remember that. The Most High tell Moses, my name is I am that I am. So you see how all of this stuff connects. Like it all comes together. How they literally want to have him burnt up. You know what I mean? Remember he's as the arsonist. You feel what I'm saying? No way around this. Remember on The Walking Dead, you had it's also redundant, man. But remember on Walking Dead, you remember how Carol, remember how she was the one burning the how she was the one burning. You remember burning people. Remember that? Remember Carol right here. Remember she was the one setting the fire. They call her Mrs. Chaos. Remember, hint the whole theme of Carol, Kara. Remember as it's written, Israel is as the oil. Hint that's therefore he brings forth the fire, the flame, when he's anointed. You see that? Hint Nestle. In 1961, they brought out they brought out the coffee. And when you know Kara too, Kara, it all goes back to like the coffee because Kara means black as well. And hint the coffee aspect, out of the black seed theme. And then you see how it was introduced by who? Carnation in 1961. Like all of this comes together, which is the same year Obama was born. I'm gonna get into him a little later on. But you just see how all of this comes together. Hint, that's for all the entertainers, a lot of people always have the car accidents and things of that nature. Then their career, either it blooms and it gets greater or it recedes and weakens. Because it all deals with the car ritual, the whole thing of separating from the body, the vessel of God. You know what I mean? But here I'm gonna get into the name Jimmy. If you saw my video Drake, my Drake video, you saw I broke down why he was in the wheelchair and his name was Jimmy Brooks. When you understand a Jimmy is used for burglary, like a crowbar. And hint the whole theme of Jimmy and like when you understand that, which is so deep because hint Messiah cometh as a thief in the night. And then the name Jimmy all deals with the whole theme of like Jacob, James, things of that nature, which all, Jacob, obviously with Jacob, he's the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel, the forefather. And hint it means all Jimmy means is to supplant and replace. Hint the new kingdom coming. Hint the burglary aspect. You know what I'm saying? Notice too, to prove my point, why they were saying carjackings were all through the roof in numbers last year. Everything was a lot of carjackings. Hint why car accidents lead America in death and things of that nature. See how you see death right there. Remember, Messiah conquers death. But notice how he falls out the car and he sinks. He's sinking and he's falling in the hole. You see how wicked that is. Like, this stuff is that real. So I'm going to get into the theme of Jimmy right quick, and I want y'all to pay attention to this. I'm going to show y'all how Jimmy always has to die on a movie via car. Just pay attention to this. This is 5 heartbeats. You see that right there? Let's get another one. This is off the movie Premonition. This is about Jimmy. He was going through like a cycle where he was where his wife Sandra Bullock was trying to bring him back to life. You know what I'm saying? Trying to prevent his death. Hint Nia Long, her name was Annie on there, and then she was Sandra Bullock's friend. Hint the whole theme of Annie again, always on the film. And this took place in Louisiana. This is actually out there in Louisiana. And I just broke this down. And you see how Jimmy, they was trying to prevent his death. But look at this right here. Let me pull it up.
Sorry to tell you this. Your husband was in a car accident. He died on the scene. Yeah.
You see that? Jimmy dies on the scene by car. Let me keep it going. This is off a recent episode of Have and Have Nots. Look at what happens to Jim.
No more, Jim. Damn.
Come on, Hannah! Come on, take your best.
Come on, man. Come on, let's keep this thing rolling. Remember on Jimmy Neutron, I'm going to explain him in a minute. But remember Jimmy Neutron, remember he was a boy genius. And remember his friend name was Carl Weezer. And remember Carl Weezer had asthma. Remember that. He couldn't breathe good. Remember he had asthma. Remember I just said Carl is short for what? Cara. Remember I was breaking that down. So when you look at this, I'm going to get real deep on it because remember why they always said Carl couldn't breathe and Jimmy couldn't breathe? Remember George Floyd, I can't breathe? Because remember during the time of Messiah crucifixion, remember Lance, the Roman soldier Lance, he put his spear through the side of Messiah and then what came out? Blood and water. To obviously show that he was the chosen son of God. But obviously to show that, I can't breathe. The lungs filled up. The lungs is pierced. Right? Notice how Carl couldn't breathe on Jimmy Neutron. Look at this. This is very deep.
Do me like white on rice, Big Daddy. All right, Jimmy, they ain't got nothing for us. Let's put.
You hear Jimmy? All right, let's get deep.
Making that speech. Jimmy, he's closing on you. Put your mask back on. That's an order, Marine. I can't breathe.
You see that? Let's get deeper on this, because this stuff is all in our face. Let's take it back to Constantine. Look at this right here. This stuff is deep. You see how they show the Chevrolet Equinox? Hint the whole equinox of changing seasons. And you see the truck is in the wilderness. And you see the Chevy sign is a cross. Notice once he look at it, what happens to him. He can't breathe. He's coughing. You see this? This stuff is so symbolic. And this is at a gas station. Hint the theme of being anointed. And I want to show y'all something else right quick because hint Call of Duty. Look at this. The whole theme of this stuff is all in our face, and it's all about who got the eyes to see and ears to hear. Let's delve deep into this. Notice the thief in the night and with the mask to breathe. Remember last year we had to wear the mask. Hit the whole theme of I can't breathe. They want to prevent Messiah from reaching top of the altar. I'm going to explain this like I've been talking about this for a while now. But what I want to talk about, obviously, you see about the I Can't Breathe. Hint, Jimmy Neutron was obviously what he was voiced by a lady named Debbie Derryberry. Hint, the theme of Derryberry. You know what I mean? Hint, anyway, Jimmy Neutron was called the Rocket Boy. Remember that? Hint, Messiah caught up into the throne of God. But I'm going to get deep onto the blasphemy of this because he was voiced by Derryberry. When you understand Barry, hint, that's nothing but Obama. Remember how Barack Obama's nickname was Barry? I'm going to get into that because it all shows the theme of blaspheming the name and the whole theme of using the power in the name for great blasphemy. Hint, why he had to be voiced by Barry. So I'm going to play this. This is off a show called, I forgot the name of the show. I can't even think right now. But I had caught a clip of it the other day. Listen to this. It's called, I think, Major Crimes. But listen to this.
I tried to explain it to that Neanderthal Barry.
You see that? The Neanderthal Barry. Look at this. Even though we already know about the whole thing, I already broke down about these camps. But hint the whole theme of how Barack Obama had to battle against them. You feel what I'm saying? I'm going to get into this a little later on. But just notice this.
Hey! I ain't no devil. This is not the words of Jesus Christ.
Excuse the language.
Shut your mouth, cave bitch! Yes, you are a cave bitch! Do you know what Jesus Christ called the white woman in the Bible?
You see this, how they had to utilize this on a film. You feel what I'm saying? You remember how they had to utilize this to utilize Obama to battle against, Israel. Even though we already know about the camps, like I said, I already broke it down, and I ain't about to go into that right now. You know what I mean? We already know what that's about. But when you understand about the whole theme of Jimmy Neutron, remember his middle name was Isaac. And remember as it's written, through Isaac the seed come forth. You remember that? The whole theme of what? But in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Not just because they the seed of Abraham, but in the seed of Isaac cometh who? Through the promised son, Isaac, bring forth Israel. So you see how Barry had the voice Jimmy Neutron. And I'm going to get deep because, Flash, his name is Barry. And remember, as it's written, Satan falleth as lightning from heaven. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm going to play this right quick and chime on in. This is what I was talking about, and I'm going to explain it later on because I'm going to talk about the Power Rangers. And I'm going to explain because I was trying to tell this brother, about the whole thing. When they be doing all of this, we can't just keep giving Illuminati power and just saying it's all Satan. You know what I mean? Because everything Satan does is to blaspheme the power of God. And I'm going to explain it in a minute. But just pay attention to this with Barry. Notice what he does. Notice he breaks the nose. You see that? Notice he breaks the nose. Right? Hint that I can't breathe. He break the nose, then guess what he does?
So that's how this happened.
Then he feeds you to the beast. You see that? Let's take it back just one more time. This is off Injustice. Notice this.
So that's
I can't breathe. Messiah can't reach top of the altar. Then look at this.
how this happened.
Then feed you to the beast. Then knock you out. You see how wicked that is? The whole theme of this, man, this stuff is that deep. Hint, you remember, everybody know about the skateboarding, about the whole theme of the clothing, obey. And hint the whole theme of obey, Obama, obey. You know what I mean? I'm going to show this in a minute with Obama, but hint, shepherd is the one who created this. Hint, as it's written, Messiah is the shepherd. And hint how he comes from Charleston, South Carolina. When you understand the name Charles, like I've been breaking this down, remember I said this before, that the Messiah is as the headstone that the Masons reject to use. And when you understand what Charles is short for, Charles, Chuck is short for Charles. And when you understand that Chuck is nothing but the pulley system which is used to raise up stones. So hint the whole theme of Messiah being the headstone, which declares that the kingdom is coming. The shadow of things to come. As is written in that day, there should be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar thereof to the border of the Lord. You see that? So hint the obey and all of the theme of that nature. You see how deep that goes. That's why you see he had to be the one to create it. It had to come out of Charleston. You see that? And then notice this one more time to prove my point. This is why he had to break the nose. I can't breathe. Messiah can't reach the top of the altar. Hold on, sorry about that. Messiah can't reach the top of the altar. You see how deep this goes. So let's keep this thing rolling, man, because it's all in our face. Hint on Final Destination 3, Luis Romero, he dies. Look at this. I'm going to explain Luis right quick, but look at this.
What about you two, huh? What? You both lost people real close to you on the phone rings on his fingers. Lewis ain't afraid of no death. Fuck death. Death is a fucking Denver fan. Death wear blue and orange. Real man.
You see that? Hint carrying the weight on his shoulder. Notice this.
What I tell you, Kevin, huh? Fuck that. I just win. That's all I know how to do, Kevin. Baby, I just win.
You see how deep this stuff goes. Notice they crush the head when he tries to carry the weight of the shoulder, of the burden. Carry the weight of the world on his shoulders, and they crush his head. I just showed y'all the breaking the nose. I can't breathe. Hint, that actor who played that role, who played Lewis, his name is Texas. Texas Battle. And when you understand the name Texas, like I said, Texas is the star, the Lone Star State, and it's called the Longhorn State. Hint, Messiah is the star of Bethlehem, horns of salvation. Hint, why Anna had to be on the first purge in Texas. I already did a Texas breakdown. That's why Texas, it has its own oil and its own grid out there. From hint, the powers of heaven. Hint, why it's called the Space City. You see how deep this stuff goes. Hint, Lewis, anyway, when you translate praise our God, it becomes what? Lewis eternal. Come on, y'all. This stuff that real. Hint, why Kanye new album Donda, the artwork is done by Louis Borges. You know what I mean? The whole theme of Borgia, because all that means is what? The fortified city. You know what I mean? The sanctified place. This is not no joke, man. Hint, Kanye is 44 at the time of this album about to come out. And I already did a breakdown on Ye. I might do a part 2 real soon to really explain it even further. But notice how 44, like I said, is the Ark of the Covenant. Hint, why Kanye said, call me Martin Lewis the King Jr. So I'm about to prove my point. So one more time, out of Isaac come what? Israel, right? Through Jacob and Esau, you got Israel come out of Jacob. You know, through the promised son of being Isaac. So hint, Isaac Newton is the one who created calculus. Hint, calculus. Hint, the whole theme of this. Isaac Newton, to calculate, you know, the name. So when you understand this, I'm going to get deep. As it's written, this is talking about Isaac Newton. Know the name and nature of the Antichrist, beast, and the numerical letters of his name, or the number of him and of the time when he roll and when he will expire. For it is the number of a man, or that which is contained in the name of a man. And his number is 600, you know, and 63. Hint, Lewis making up the fame number, and may denote the destruction of Antichrist, which will quickly follow the downfall of the kingdom of France. I'm going to do a breakdown on France real soon. Okay, I got that coming. But notice the whole theme of the number of the name of Lewis. This is why everything is always done in this name. The names like Lewis, Billy, Williams, Charles. It's redundant. Hint, all the kings of England and France names was Lewis, Charles, Williams. So look at this. Here is wisdom. Let him have understanding. Count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Right? And hint, as is written, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. Hint, the whole theme of Isaac Newton creating the calculus, and all this shows about the name. All of these people playing a role of Lewis throughout Hollywood, and Williams, Billy. You know what I mean? I'm going to get into that later on. But listen to this right quick, because it's all in our face. And like I said, it's all about who got the eyes to see and the ears to hear. So I'm going to play this right quick from Rihanna and Drake. Look at this.
The square root of 69 is 8 something, right? Because I've been trying to work it out.
Yeah, he said the square root of 69 is 8 something because I've been trying to work it out. Because the whole thing, remember, is what's my name? And you see, and Rihanna is getting milk and she's wearing the white and the black for masonry, and then she got the carton of milk because milk is short for Moloch. Hint MLK, milk, Moloch. You know what I mean? All of that goes into them just trying to say that they're on the breast of the Babylonian, the Babylonian mother goddess, false queen of heaven, blasphemy. So when you look at this, notice how he said the square root of 69 is 8 something, right? Hint 8 is the number of infinity. And then when you understand 69, hint that all goes back to the crab, the cancer. Hint the arms of heaven, the 69, fishing the souls of men, the crab. Hint what's my name, because I just told y'all about the whole theme of blasphemy and the power of God. So look at this to prove my point about the arms of heaven. Look at this. Hold on.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, he coughing. You see that 76 back there? Remember I said Messiah is as what? The 76. Remember I said he's as the 76 degrees? Remember when I was talking about that earlier? About Messiah being a headstone, the 76 degrees that the Masons reject to use? So look at this right quick. Sorry about that. Look at this, though. You see the crab trying to grab his hand to say basically come back into the will of God. You see that? Hint the cancer. That's why Drake said I've been trying to figure it out. This stuff is crazy, man. Look at this. This is Principal Lewis off of American Dad. Look at this.
To do what I do best, and that's whatever I want all the time.
Yeah, he said I get to do whatever I want all the time. Hint Lewis, Messiah is the law. He is the law. Look at this right here. That's why he said I can do what I want. Look at this right here. Hold on, let me keep it rolling.
Wow, he just takes what he wants, doesn't he?
You see that? Look at this.
Strong. Snot, you're Jewish. You'll be in charge of the money. Steve, you'll be in charge of watching Snot, because I don't trust Jews.
Hint the whole theme of the synagogue. This is what I'm about to pull up right quick to prove my point about what he just said. Because it's all in our face, you know what I mean? It's all in our face. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Hint the whole theme of stealing the identity of the true holy people. The so-called black man in America. You know what I'm saying? The so-called blacks, Negroes in America and throughout the world. You know what I mean? As was written, we are scattered, among nations. You feel what I'm saying? Among all nations. So you hear how he said, I don't trust Jews. So, yeah, Steve, watch him. You see that? None of this stuff is by mistake at all. Principal Lewis. Like, it's all in our face. You feel what I'm saying? It's all in our face. So I want to show y'all something with Dr. Fate. Because it's all high-level blasphemy of Messiah. You know what I mean? Remember, I just showed y'all, as it's written, in that day, there should be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. So look at this right here.
This is your fate.
See how he cast her into the temple? You see how he just cast her into the temple, right? Remember I said this earlier. Shirley Temple played, Shirley Temple obviously played, she played on the movie. She played Annie. My fault. I had to catch that. But yeah, remember I said she played Annie. Hint the temple, how she plays Annie. And then you see how some of that meant nothing but Mary. So notice how he cast her into the temple. Look at this. You see how he cast her out through the whole power, you know what I mean, of him being the headstone. You see how deep this goes. None of this is by mistake. Hint Messiah is the 76 degrees. Notice Canaan on a raising Canaan. Notice he's wearing 67. Because it all represents nothing but what? Reversing the power of Messiah being a headstone. You feel what I'm saying? Let me show y'all something right quick. 67. Notice King Shark on the Harley Quinn TV series was wearing 67 because it all represents nothing but the beast out the sea. Remember, as it's written, that the beast shall come out. The Antichrist should be like a beast out the sea, coming with great deception. So you see the 67, hint 67, and then hint Busta Rhymes riding the beast out the sea. You see that? None of this stuff is by mistake, man. None of it is by mistake. Hint the theme of a cap gun. Remember I said Messiah is the cap. He's the headstone. Hint the whole theme of a cap gun. Remember, it's like assimilating a gunshot. It just make noise, but it don't bring forth any arrows. Remember, as it's written, the Most High. Remember, as it's written that the sons, your children, your sons are as arrows to your bow. You know what I mean? And that represents stripping Messiah of his glory and his power, because hint the whole theme of the Sagittarius utilized the arrow. Just like in a sense of when you understand what all these codes and everything means. Hint the Sagittarius utilized the arrow, the bow and arrow. You see how deep that goes. The mighty hunter. Take the cap away. Keep him weakened. Let me show y'all this right quick so you can understand where I'm going with this. Because this stuff is all in our face. You know what I mean? And I broke this down 1,000,000 times. Hint the Antichrist beast out to sea. Listen to what happens.
Kill them all.
Hint what he just said. Knock them all off. The saints.
Take chains off!
Messiah, give us your chains. Stay as a sacrifice. Be a lamb. You're not about to be a king. You feel what I'm saying? Let's keep this thing going, because Dr. Fate was created. He actually created a tower out in Salem, Massachusetts, for the base of his operations. Hint the whole theme, and together they destroyed a military gateway. So basically together they used the power of God, and they prevented the gateway of the military to the netherworld of demons. Hint he created a tower in Salem, Massachusetts. Hint Salem, Jerusalem. You know what I mean? And when you understand this, which is so crazy, because Salem, Massachusetts is known for witchcraft and wizardry. Hint that it's all blasphemy of the power of the Holy Spirit. Power of God. You feel what I'm saying? So I want to talk about something right quick, because this stuff is that deep. Let's get deeper into this. Billy Cranston on the Morphin, the Blue Ranger off Power Rangers. And when you understand the whole theme of Cranston, remember I broke down about Crenshaw with Nipsey Hussle, how all that represents is nothing but the crane. Remember I already said Messiah has to be raised up. Remember, we uplift him. Remember, as it's written that as the serpent was lifted up in the wilderness, so shall the Son of Man be. Notice Billy's name is Cranston. Because when you understand the name Billy anyway, Billy is short for William, which don't mean nothing but the I am that I am, the will of I am that I am, will of God. And when they talk about them morphing, you got to remember, as it's written in Revelation 4:7, remember you have the will within a will, which reveals Messiah into going from beast into royalty, into a king. Hint, the first beast was as a lion, second as a royal bull, third as the face of a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. Hint the whole theme of Messiah going through the phases into becoming the king. Hint he went from being as a lamb sacrifice into becoming a king. Remember I just showed y'all this with Czar, with Busta Rhymes. So you see how all of this goes. Let's keep this thing rolling right quick, man. Remember, as it's written in Revelation 5:14, and the four beasts said, Amen, and the 24 elders fell down and worshiped him that lived forever and ever. Hint the whole theme of going through the morphing. Remember, he was sacrificed on the movie, and then remember he was sacrificed, Billy was, and then he returned back again. Hint the whole theme. Remember, I was just talking about that earlier with the movie Premonition. Remember that? About how he dies and she tried to stop him from dying. You know what I mean? All of this stuff comes together, man, and there's no way around it. Hint on the movie Goodfellas, Tommy and Jimmy. Jimmy killed Billy. Because when you understand when they be talking about like Billy, fighting William, or, Jimmy killing Billy and stuff like that, we got to remember, Messiah was as a sacrifice before. He overcomes being a sacrifice and coming into his full form. Hint, he was as a lamb sacrifice, but this time he is as a thief in the night. So the old him has to go away. You feel what I'm saying? He comes into royal form, into pure king form. He is no longer a sacrifice. He's a king. It's all coming into power aspect. So look at this.
That fucking mouth to feed. Understand? Yeah.
You see that right there? I ain't even gonna play too much into it, but you see that. Hint, it's an old screenplay. It was actually a screenplay where Billy is 10 years old and he sees his mother. Billy saw his mother being blown away, like destroyed, like, blew up, right? He saw that happen. And the whole thing, how Billy's tragic death happens when he protects his adopted father, Benji. And you see the one, this is that deep. Hint through the fire again. Remember when I was talking about that earlier, going through the fire. Hold on. Remember I was talking about that earlier, him going through the fire. Remember that. Let me show y'all something else right quick. It's like that show Them. Remember when the dad was struggling to eat the pie, the bread? Hint Messiah, the bread of life. Hint blaspheming, and keeping him covered in sin. Therefore, he was burning inside of the glass room. You know what I mean? I broke this down a while back, but just to bring it up again, hint the whole thing of going through the fire. You see that? And guess who wrote this movie? Jimmy Israel. Jimmy Israel. Come on, y'all. Come on. Come on. This stuff is not no joke. Hint as it's written anyway. You see how they said he saw her being blown? Hint as it's written. You see the wind and the woman. You see that horse right there? And it looked like somebody riding on a horse. Hint as it's written, and a whirlwind came out of the north, revealing Messiah. Hint why they had to use the wind and fire. You see that? None of this stuff is by mistake. Hint Billy Crawford, on a movie. This actually was a really good movie. I watched a while back. I used to watch it all the time as like a young teen. But hint it's called Unconditional. And it was a guy that Michael Ealy was on there. But anyway, you got Billy Crawford. He dies in 2008, right before Obama come into office, right? Hint T was the one in the red hoodie. He saw Billy get shot, and he was trying to help Billy. You know what I'm saying? And when you understand the T, all that deals with is the number 8 right there, which is representing Messiah becoming the headstone, becoming the royal king. You see number 4 right there, represent him coming into head. The number 8 is like the foundation of all of that. So notice T tried to save Billy from dying. Notice he witnessed Billy die. You see that? You see the Pep's blue ribbon right there. The whole thing with the blue ribbon, the Masons. And you see the stone wall. Look at that. The liquor store. Hint the Babylonian. Not even Babylonian, I'm sorry. Hint as it's written, Messiah's eyes should be red as wine. So hint how he was at the liquor store, then he ends up getting killed in the alley. In the byways. You know what I mean? All of this stuff is all in our face. And you see how, like I said, he died right before Obama come out into office in 2008 in November. You see that? This stuff is crazy. Notice remember that song, Get Ready, Because Here I Come? I'm about to get deep on this. Remember that, the Get Ready, Because Here I Come by Temptations. I'm going to play a clip right quick and chime on in. I'm going to stop it soon, but just listen. You see the whole theme of fee, fi, fo, fum, ready or not, because here I come. The whole theme of Get Ready, Here I Come was recorded in 1966. And then the backside of it was called, the single was called Fading Away. Hint, this came out in 1966. This is 10 years before 76. Remember I said Messiah as the headstone, the 76 degrees. Now I'm going to explain this real deep, man, because when you understand it, they brought it out again in 1970 by Rare Earth. It was Get Ready by Rare Earth, and the B-side was The Magic Key. In 1970, hint the magic key, hint Messiah has the keys of life, death, and hell. And you see how I get ready for the rare earth, hint the new kingdom coming. So you see how that came out in 1970. Remember, as it's written in scripture, that the woman brought forth the man-child, right? And what's so deep, as it's written, the red dragon sought to kill the child as soon as he was born. You know what I mean? The red dragon have 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns. Remember, Messiah is as the he's the one being brought forth to rule the nation with the rod of iron. His throne, he's caught up into the throne of God. Hint Jimmy Neutron, Rocket Boy. So you see the red dragon that went after him have 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns. Hint 7 times 10 is 70s. And then hint the 7 crowns, July the 7th month. Hint Illuminati Day, July 4th. So you see that the whole theme of the 70s and all of this comes together. Hint the United Union and everything of that nature. So the whole theme of that, which is so deep, that's why 1776 Illuminati was formed, because hint the whole theme of the 76 degrees blasphemy. Reverse it, make it 67. Hint no headstone on Illuminati pyramid, just all-seeing eye. You see how deep that go. Hint Gus came out in 1976. He was a donkey that played football. Hint the guy is wearing 67 that's holding him. You see that? And hint Gus, remember as it's written, Israel is likened unto the donkey. Remember, Messiah should ride the donkey to enter into the kingdom. Israel. So you see the screenplay is by Arthur. When you understand what Arthur means, you know, Port Arthur, Texas, the zip code begins with 76. And when you understand Port Arthur, it connects from Texas with the train all the way up to Kansas. Remember I said Messiah with the Texas aspect, and all of that is in the Golden Triangle with it's right out there, I think, with Beaumont. I'm gonna show y'all right quick so you won't be confused. Sorry about that. Let me just show you right quick. Cause it's all in our face, man. You know what I mean? It's all in our face, y'all. Let me pull this up. Prove my point. So you look at this right here. You see how deep this stuff goes. And there's no way around it. There's no way around this. And everything comes together, man. It's all about who got the eyes to see and the ears to hear. So you see you got Beaumont, you got Orange, and then you got Port Arthur. Hint, Port Arthur is like the headstone. So you see Beaumont, and you got Orange, and then you got Port Arthur. And when you understand Orange, that all deals with like the image, the presence of God. That's why Tupac, his last photo, remember he was wearing the orange shirt. Remember that. Remember how he was wearing the orange shirt because it showed that he fulfilled the ritual. You feel what I'm saying? All of this stuff comes together. Remember he was wearing an orange shirt. So you see how all of this stuff comes together. But when you understand that, hint how deep that is. Port Arthur connect with Kansas, because remember I said Kansas is in the tornado alley. Hint Messiah is revealed through the whirlwind. And when you understand Gus, all that name means is magnificent, glorious, worth glory. Hint it came out 1976. You see that? The 76. Again. Hint Gus Williams, the basketball player. Hint he was called the Wizard. He played for the Washington Bullets. He played for Atlanta Hawks. He played for the Supersonics, which is very significant because that all deals with the whole theme of revealing Messiah, will within a will, the atoms and things of that nature. And when you understand the Golden State Warriors, hint the whole theme of that representing the Golden Gate, Messiah the Gate. And then Atlanta Hawks, remember Messiah flieth as an eagle. And then Washington Bullets represent nothing but the arrows of God. So you see how the whole thing, why he's called the Wizard and his name is Williams. Remember I said the I am that I am. You know what I mean? And there's no way around it. Hint Shirley Temple. She was a chief of protocol of the United States for Jimmy Carter. Hint Jimmy again, 76. And that was the first election and only election to ever be held in Hawaii. You know how deep that go with Obama, Hawaii. Remember I already said this earlier about Jimmy Neutron. Remember I said he was voiced by Derry Berry. Remember I was talking about that, the whole theme of Barry representing Obama. All great blasphemy. Remember I was talking about this, the beast out the sea, the great imitator. 76 degrees is Messiah. Hint the 67. Bring the deception. Beast out the sea. Hint you got Jake from State Farm right now. And you see how he had the commercial with the bees dealing with Daniel, catching bees. Hint the promised land is milk and honey. Remember Daniel prophesied that the kingdom of God would supplant Satan's kingdom. You remember that in the book of Daniel. Hint Jake from State Farm. Jacob, 12 tribes of Israel. Notice he went from being white to black because it represent going from the false Jewish world into coming into the whole theme of the new real kingdom. You know how I'm going with this, how deep this goes. And there's no way around it. Remember I was talking about that earlier with Principal Lewis. I don't trust Jews. You see how deep this stuff go. Hint State Farm. Hint the whole theme of the protection, the new kingdom. You know what I mean? But I'm actually going to end that right here. Thank you for watching Hide and Seek TV. Much more is coming, y'all. Peace.